Welcome to Texas boxing scene. I do want to get into this today. It's everywhere, so I wanted to just touch on it. We're gonna get into a little bit of Vergil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis. Who would win that? Could the fight happen? We're just gonna get into Verge and Boots. Obviously, being from North Texas, being from Fort Worth, I have a little bit of bias towards Verge. We'll get that out in the open. But I want to break it down because these guys are obviously on a collision course. I've not got to talk to Boots. Verge says he doesn't really think much of Boots in the sense of, as a rival, and they've never talked to him, he doesn't know him, so he doesn't think much of it. But, Boots will have a spectacular performance. And they'll say he's the best. Verge will have a spectacular performance. They'll say he's the future of the welterweight division. The two guys do seem like they're on a collision course at some point. To me, right now, Verge has the much better resume. Ennis has more fights. He's 29-0. He's got 10 more fights than Verge. Verge was touted more, but Ennis is 29-0, 27 knockouts. Verge is 19-0, 19 knockouts, all by way of knockouts. The best wins on Ennis's resume would be his last three wins, which are a knockout of Lipinets, a first-round knockout of Delorme, which is really impressive, and a second-round knockout of Clayton. That's really it. Bakuto, I above, and then we're really falling off. I would say for sure Verge has the better resume. I don't really think that's debatable. Like I said, the best names are Clayton, who never really beat anybody. Delorme, okay, he's a little washed, he's got a bunch of losses, and Lipinets, who's a good fighter. I would say Verge definitely has the better resume there. McKinson, Kavalauskas, Hooker, Antonio Orozco, Mauricio Herrera. I would say that resume is better. Orozco, almost a world champion. Hooker, a world champion. Kavalauskas, arguably dropped Spence. Michael McKinson. I would say that's the better resume. It's close. And earlier that you go back, you got names like Roberto Ortiz. You got some good fighters on that resume. I would say it's better than Boots's. Boots' last couple of fights really gotten rid of guys. Delorme in 1, Clayton in 2. That's really impressive. Verge is knocked out every fight, but 7, 8, 9. Hooker was Vargas went 7, Hooker went 7, Kavalauskas went 8, and McKinson went 9. And before that, he had Orozco went 6. And early is crazy. He's just flattened everyone in a couple of rounds. But he's gone deeper into fights now. Ennis has got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Both these guys are incredible. When was the last time he didn't knock someone out? Okay. James Winston. I mean, yeah, both these guys have really impressive knockout streaks. This is going to be tough. I would say Boots is the faster fighter. I really don't know who's the bigger hitter. I really don't know. They both flatten everyone. I would say one shot. I would guess Verge is the bigger hitter, but I don't know. It's close. I think Verge is better on the inside. I think he's the better body puncher. I think, like I said, Boots is quicker. He's probably a little better on the outside. He could probably out jab him and out move him. But right now, if I had to lean, I would say Vergil has him, even though he's got 10 less fights, has him on top tier experience. I think he could break him down. I think you'd have to get to his body. I think Verge could get to his body. Verge said his last fight with McKinson, he didn't like his performance because he headhunted too much. Verge would have to try to get to Boots' body. I'm leaning towards Boots. I mean, I'm leaning towards Verge, but this is as close as it gets. Now, could this fight happen? Is this like a realistic fight that could happen? All right, here's how it does happen. The WBO calls it a final eliminator, 1 versus 2, which would be Verge versus Boots in a non-title fight. I don't think one of them or both of them would take that fight in a non-title fight at this stage in their career. Here's the more realistic scenario of how this fight happens. Doesn't matter who wins, Crawford or Spence. I don't know. Pick one. Well, it's Texas boxing team will pick Spence. Spence wins, has to vacate the belt. Either he goes up to 54 or he takes another mandatory or whatever. He doesn't want to fight, the WBO mandatory. Then one would fight 2. And I think that's a realistic scenario. So that might be 2 fights away. But that's the more realistic scenario. So, I mean, realistically, the fight is probably at least 8 months to a year away. Rumored has allegedly, a little birdie told me that the fight Spence Crawford is going to happen in November. I don't know if that's true. I have not seen anything to verify that rumor, but that's what I'm told. So let's say that fight happens in November. Go within 90 days of that, 60 days of that, whatever it may be. The WBO calls the mandatory and says, hey, you have to fight Verge. At which point, let's say Spence is like, or Crawford. I don't want to tip my hand there. Let's say the winner of that fight says, no, I'm going to 54. I'm not fighting anyone at 47. The WBO would likely call Verge versus Boots, which would be, that would be something else. I think that's the most likely scenario of that fight happening. If it were to happen, yeah, I'm going to lean towards Verge. Verge has got to break him down. He's got to slow him down. He's got to be able to jab with him. Don't get out jab. Don't get controlled by Boots' speed. Instead, you got to cut the ring off on him. You got to get him in the ropes. You got to back him down. You got to bully him. Now, like I said, Boots is not, Boots is extremely heavy-fisted too. Boots seems to me, and I mean this is a complimentary way, because coming up, Zab Judo is magic. I think Boots is a more disciplined Zab Judo, which he has all the skills, the power, the speed. Like, he's got the jab. He's got everything you'd want, right? And I think Boots is just more disciplined with it, right? And I think he's probably a bigger hitter. Like, Zab could hit. Yeah, I think Boots is probably a bigger hitter with the same speed, stick, movement, everything like that. Boots is going to be a problem. There's no, and obviously Boots is right-handed and Zab is left-handed. But I think that's a pretty good comparison, right? I think Boots can pan out to be everything that Zab was supposed to be with more power. And Verge is, it's hard, right? Because he's a really good, he's Mikey Garcia with ferocious power. He's Mikey Garcia with much better power and angles. So, he's fundamentally really sound, but he likes to get inside and blow you away, right? And that's Verge. And I think he would be able to do that enough, right? Again, I'm not saying Ennis has no shot in that fight. He's got a very good shot. It is a 50-50 fight that I'm leaning towards Virgin. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. Can the fight happen? Will it happen? And who do you have if it does happen? It is August 10th, 2012. By the time you see this, it'll be August 11th, 2022. From Texas to the world. Thank you and God bless.